Leo, what does love look like for you in 2025? Well, it looks like death, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. For some of you, it's a strong tie to a Scorpio person, and it could be their sun, their moon, or their rising sign. If not, this is a love period where you are regenerating. You want to get out of stagnant situations, whether that's old relationships that make you feel uncertain or drain you in some way. It's a year where you want to leave the past behind, whether that's the past in a relationship or the past way of relating. For some of you, it's renewing of a tie. Maybe there's unfinished business between you and another person. So you're looking at issues of inevitable change taking place, some transition where there are endings and new beginnings, where you're revitalizing aspects of a relationship or a connection, or letting something go because it's no longer working. So for some of you, there's a change in your status on either side of the fence. Maybe you're getting married, or you're getting divorced, or it's the end of something, the beginning of something. And particularly important is shedding outmoded attitudes that no longer work where relationship is concerned. Now, hopefully, you're not resistant to necessary change. You may feel a fear of intimacy. Maybe there's an obsession with someone, or maybe you're in a relationship that's stagnating and you refuse to make changes. And as a result, you feel a sense of depression. Maybe, you're turning your back on the future. You've had some negative experiences, and so, you've given up. Or maybe there's been some kind of loss that you've experienced. Whatever it is, this is a year where you're going to undergo a major life change or meet agents of change in your life in connection to love and relationship. So there could be some great opportunities or some challenges, or you really have to work on the survival of a connection. And part of that is reinventing yourself, your outlook, your beliefs, cutting out the dead wood, things that don't work, because you don't want to function in a relationship that isn't growing, that's dead, that's stagnant, that's confining, restrictive, or uncertain. But there's a great sense of rebirth here, renewal. The seeds that have been planted and dormant are now sprouting forth. And it's a year where you're going to be very concerned about your security, and you're motivated to make decisions where you do have some sense of stability in relationships. Now, some of the changes you're making, you're going to end an emotional relationship, but maybe you remain friends, or maybe you resume a relationship from a long time ago. Whatever it is, flexibility is key, because this is a year where there's going to be unpredictable twists and turns, and you have to be ready. Now, again, if you have difficulty releasing something, maybe you're tempted to just hold on to all the bad memories, the unpleasant experiences, and you let that get in the way of opportunity. You keep yourself at war because of this battle, given what has taken place before. So maybe you take an extreme position on love, a definitive stance, and you block opportunities, or you block other people. So then you start to build a wall around yourself, or you're unable to compromise in relationship. Maybe, rather than work things out, or talk your differences out, one of you may just, walk away. Or maybe you're just in denial. You're staying in something that is dead. You're in denial, or you're resistant to making changes that could improve your relationship. And so all of these important things in the connection just stay hanging in limbo. So this is a year where your relationships undergo profound transformation, and more so positively when you can personally self-regenerate. So whatever it is, whether it's emotional or any other aspect of life that has been holding you back or keeping you from reaching the top or finding a better path, this is the year where if you choose to, you can do it. So you're stripping away anything that you've outgrown, and your situation keeps changing as your attitude, your feelings, your opinions, and your convictions change. Now, again, it can be separation or divorce, or maybe in a committed relationship, one stage of that development is winding down. Or if you're without a love interest, maybe it's going to be the end of your single status. So this is about letting go and moving on of those things that are blocking you. Some phase of development as far as relationship has reached a final stage and you're about to begin anew. And you can go through a door and that door is going to lock behind you. You won't be able to go back the way you came. The things, the experiences, the kind of relationships you had in the past, you can't do that anymore. You're ready to give up an old identity and do something completely new. And so you're rising from the ashes of your old self. And maybe you're in a relationship that is forever changed. Or, anything that resists change could just fall by the wayside for you. So your fear or denial only speaks to your refusal to understand and accept what regeneration means. If you try to hold on to outdated situations or dying relationships, that's going to hinder your growth and it's going to cause you some unnecessary pain and suffering. So again, there are major changes on the horizon. A new era is dawning in your relationships. You might need a little bit of time to mourn what's, passing by, but then it's time to open up to something new. Now, the rapport that you have with this person may make you feel like you're being caught up in sort of a whirlwind. The unexpected can happen, and surprising situations. Others might surprise you. You might surprise yourself. You might do things in ways that you never have before. Something is not following the prescribed planned course of action. You're doing something new, and maybe you're suddenly falling in love. Communication is very important. Maybe things are moving very quickly between you and another person, but you are motivated by the wisdom of the past. And so, again, either you're letting go of the past or you are reconnecting with someone from the past, rekindling your emotions or a relationship. Maybe there is unfinished business that you have with another person and you want to explore that. Maybe it's someone from another lifetime and you've reincarnated in this lifetime to continue the love you shared before. So for some of you, whether you're married or you're single, your love life is going to improve. Things start to heat up. There's excitement and you're relating with a person in a new and better way. Some of you, your long-term associations are reanimated because you're deliberately trying to reopen the lines of communication. And if you're single, you may be getting a lot of interest. You could be getting a lot of communication from suitors, people that are interested in pursuing you romantically. The challenge is moving in the wrong direction. Be careful about wasting your time and energy pursuing relationships that aren't going anywhere. Draw on the wisdom of the past because unbridled passion or a rush to impulsive behavior could provoke you into decisions that ultimately have a negative effect on your love life. So you're definitely doing a review. Maybe you've reached a certain level, a plateau, And maybe, the things have gone well between you and another person, but you still may be feeling like there's a sense of something more. Could we expand this relationship, or is there more out there? So you're looking at whether you want to align with another person. You're making some choices, and you're considering, where you are in this moment and where you're going. Maybe there are things that affect your relationship. It could be a change of job, a change of residence, a serious trip that affects your love life. So a new relationship may be going well, but maybe you're just not clear about what that next step is. So for some of you, wherever you are, it's fulfilled your early expectations, but you don't know if a deeper commitment is likely or even desirable. Because maybe you have some freedom or commitment issues, or maybe you feel exhilarated in the review of a relationship. But there are issues where you want to free yourself from falsity. Maybe one of you has been wearing a mask, or you're looking at deceptive issues that have plagued you in your relationships, either the current one or you want to get away from that. Or perhaps you may even be looking at your own behavior where there's been lies or deceit or putting on a false face in the relationship. You're looking for greater freedom and you want to release the negative, and so you're doing this review. So you're probably doing a lot of watchful waiting this year, anticipating what's going to happen, and it may cause some kind of anxiety or impatience. So, you prosper when you have common interests, when you have the same goals, the same objective. So this is a year to consider your point of view, your partner's point of view, and to look at where you may be able to reconcile some differences, where you can come to mutual agreement on matters. In some cases, perhaps, you're clear. You want to join forces, but just where you are in the relationship right now, given the circumstance, maybe you've done all you can for the time being. Now you just have to wait for the results. You need to have faith in yourself, the relationship, or the future. Maybe you can't see it yet, but something may be about to come in for you, especially if, you've been single for a while. Where physical attraction and chemistry is concerned, you might prefer the traditional. Maybe, you want that sense of romance, that Cinderella story. Maybe you want to be wooed, courted. You want romantic overtures, romantic gestures, and you want something that has the possibility to lead to marriage or at least real commitments. Now, this can be a relationship or situations that come up in your relationship that cause you to sort of question what is important, what is significant. Should I follow a tried and true path, or should my relationship break with tradition in some way? So you may be examining your beliefs, your values, your principles, who you really trust, how much control you want to turn over to a partner. Are you ready to take on the ultimate responsibility for a relationship? And maybe you're in a connection where the two of you, serve as a guide for one another. Maybe there's a karmic aspect to your relationship, and you know from the very start that this person is for you, or again, that you've known this person before. So there's a lot to do with faith in the process, faith in yourself, in a future together, in the power of something greater that may be pulling you toward another person. But you may not like being forced to deal with conventional morality or philosophy of others where relationship is concerned. For some of you, maybe you're meeting with opposition. Maybe you're in a relationship where others may not necessarily approve. Could be parental, maybe it's societal. Maybe you're having to put your wedding plans on hold, or others are telling you how your relationship should be or what it should look like. And if you're not careful, you may succumb to that influence. For some of you, you're having to look at the choices that you make. whether the partners, the lovers that you choose, are in some way a reckless choice. People that can pull you into some kind of intrigue or drama, situations that aren't good for you, and maybe before you even realize it. Or it can be, again, the expectation levels that are not being met, too many unfulfilled promises. So you're looking for that solid connection, that transformation that, again, makes you, you're kind of looking for this fairy tale story, or one of you may be. There's some measure of frustration here. It could be some third party interference in your affairs. Maybe there's a love triangle, or maybe there's simply a breakdown in communication between you and a partner or a potential love interest. And it may be because there's competition. Maybe you recognize that, this person gets a lot of attention, they're pursued by a lot of people, and maybe that is problematic for you. Or maybe it's you who is the popular person. Someone is at the center of attention. And so there could be some kind of frustration about this, some kind of heartbreak. In some cases, maybe you're going to terminate the relationship based on that. So for some of you, you may feel heartbroken. Maybe something is called off. Maybe it's called off at the last minute. Or again, maybe your partner runs off with someone else, or something that you have been unaware of or unwilling to acknowledge comes to light. And that requires a major change, whether you like it or not. But once you face facts, you can make the necessary changes, and that's when the healing process begins. And the death card says you're going to regenerate, you're going to rise above situations. So it could be that you recognize that your values are not quite aligned. Something has thrown a curve, and it may make you want to withdraw. But what you really need to do is find a way to put any hurt or sorrow behind you. Maybe you're going through a period, or your relationship has hit a bump due to something that has soured, the loss of a job, ill health, or your relationship. But despite something that is unfortunate, it's a clue that you're going to have to release something that you've been holding on to. And after you allow yourself that space, you can put things into perspective. You can move on to something new. So some kind of illumination you're going to receive. Or maybe maybe you're giving advice, or you're getting some advice, or you're trying to solve a problem. But it's a problem that is affecting you deeply emotionally. And again, it's all about this attention, whether you're getting enough attention, whether you're the center of attention, or whether your partner is faithful, or you're having to share in ways that you don't like. Now, this can lead into an area of conflict that may center on obligations, responsibilities, temptations, obsessions, compulsions that lead you in the wrong direction, that tempt you to stray away from your ethics, your moral code, or your partner. Maybe it's an unhealthy attachment, or your partner has some kind of addiction. But whatever it is, maybe you even have this fear that you're going to be exploited in some way. And maybe you want to commit more, but there's a part of you that has a fear based on past experiences that you're going to be taken advantage of. For some of you, there is a sense of renewal, and there may be issues where the past is calling you back. Some chronic issue that is coming up, has a bearing on your relationship. For some of you, you may feel like your ex was the one, or your partner may feel like that. And so naturally that will be a hindrance in your relationship. Or you're going back to old habits. But there is the possibility of getting some kind of recognition, luck, or good fortune, connecting to somebody that has the attributes, the value system, the qualities, the physical traits that you desire. This is your ideal person, and you're seeking to find a sense of renewal through connecting to someone like that. You may be experiencing some kind of hindrance or blockage, challenge or delay. But on the other hand, again, this is an area of conflict. Like what is your ideal? Maybe the battle is with yourself. Maybe you can't get past old patterns. Or again, there could be parental influence, heavy responsibilities, things that get in the way of feeling like you can create that ideal connection or the ideal circumstance. Much of what you're dealing with is the struggle with temptation, some important choice to be made and difficulty in doing so. Maybe it's the inability to choose between two partners. Or maybe, the commitment comes with some kind of trial or challenge. So you're having difficulty. There's some kind of fork in the road that you meet in relationship. Maybe it's about whether you want to have a new relationship, or you're having to make a choice or an important decision within the relationship. Whatever it is, you've reached a fork in the road about your union, about trust. You do have the possibility for repairing something. You're going to meet with issues that need to be clarified. And you're going to gain some awareness, some understanding that possibly gives you some peace of mind. Maybe you connect this year to somebody that is really important to your future. You reconnect with someone from your past. And again, this issue of popularity or people pleasing is going to be important. You have to think about ill-considered decisions or perhaps inconsistencies in the relationship, infidelity, unhealthy relationships. So for some of you, this is the tendency to want to repress how you feel. Again, you had issues with communication where there was a breakdown, a frustration, or maybe even sharp words that center on infidelity, faithfulness, trust. And so even if you're in a good relationship, that may come under some kind of strain or tension, and your first impulse may be to repress how you feel. But actually, what needs to be done is that you express everything, put everything out on the table, be clear, so that your relationship can improve. You're also going to need to look at where you may be too subservient, doing what's expected, but your heart's not really in it, or being too jealous, or being too sure of yourself in ways where you're allowing your desires to drive your decisions and justifying it in doing so, relying on charm and believing that you're going to convince other people or a partner to go your way. And, often that can be disingenuous in some way because in truth, it's a form of manipulation. So those could be issues. With the death card, it's going to be an intense relationship for you, for better or for worse. And this is a year where if you get involved with someone, they're going to bring out the very best in you. And it's also possible that they're going to bring out the very worst in you. Here's your sneak peek for the year in love.